So in the box, I got the 8-piece set with 2 trays with the lights on it. Wow, really impressed. This is a pretty complete kit. So these are your rubber mounting pads. You can put these on the bottom of your light, and I think I will. They're going to help with vibrations, or if you need to reroute your wires to a more flush, in a more flush way, then it has the channels for that, or you just go right out the back. This is what I really am excited about with this kit, is the control unit. So it is both controlled by this, and you have the option to use an app on your phone. These are just your wires, your extensions that are going to run from your wiring harness to the lights themselves. There's 4 of those. We'll see how long they are when we get on with the install. Okay, here we got the wiring harness. Looks like it has a fair bit of wire with it. And it's nice and covered, which is cool. It's got a good covering on it, so when it's in your engine bay or going through your firewall or whatever, those wires have some protection. Alright, so you got a relay, a positive and a negative, with a fuse holder, and it even comes with a fuse installed. It's those little things that really count. Alright, and then this runs to your switch. Switch feels good. They actually send you with a roll of tape, mounting hardware, and butt connectors. Alright, let's take a look at the light itself. Looks great. I am super excited to hook this up to power and see just how bright they are. Maybe a foot of wire coming off of that. It's got a little waterproof grommet on there. I'm assuming these are aluminum. I will post a link to these exact rock lights, so if you want to see the exact specs, follow that link and be able to read up on it. Okay, so now you can see that light switch is on. Controller is on. You can tell by the indicator light, no matter what you do, nothing. It's not working. And I was confused because I was like, there's power to it. So let's shut those off. Come over to your power switch. Cycle it 3 times until that light starts flashing red. Now that means it's ready to be in pairing mode. Then come over and on your controller here, the very bottom, it looks like a microphone. Press and hold it until the light comes on solid. All right, then it works. Off, on, cycle the colors. I'm gonna look under here. I think I'm gonna go right behind my rock slider. And so what I'm looking for is kind of how far the light shines. So in the wheel well, it shined to about here, and this covers that area too. And the goal is to not have any dark spots in between the lights. And I'm gonna go right behind this one. In the rear wheel well, you can see the seam right there. This is my bracket that holds in my cage. I'm gonna mount this light right above the bracket. You'll probably have your own order of things you wanna do this. You don't have to follow me exactly. Might not even be advisable. But now that I kind of have a general idea of where I'm gonna mount those, and hopefully it's pretty similar side to side, now I'm going to put the wiring harness in. So I want to put this relay right here next to this one, and then you have a power and a ground, which works for me because I have power coming from the battery over to this fuse box. So I'm going to run it right to that post. It has its own fuse. I'll keep that. And then I have a ground down here, but everybody's configuration is going to be different. They've done a really good job setting up this wiring harness that's going to work with a lot of different applications. I am, however, going to modify it a little bit. This length right here would be better used going into the Jeep. So I'm going to cut it a little bit short right here, and then I'll re-splice it as needed. But if I do that, I should be able to fish my switch in through the firewall. There's a hole right there already. It's always a little nerve-wracking cutting supplied wires. So you don't want to avoid warranties or anything like that. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make it work, well with your application. Luckily with 12-volt wires, it's pretty easy to fix things or replace them. Even if you were to mess up this wiring harness beyond repair, you can just get a hold of them, jump on their website, whatever, and just buy a replacement one. All right, I got the switch through the firewall. Here's the relay. Use a self tapper to attach it to the fender here. And it's right in line with all my other ones. Still, I want to change all that. Here are the power and ground wire coming out of that. Underneath my fuse box here, I ran the wire for the positive, and then I found a bolt over here to act as the ground. So now I'm gonna go ahead and install the lights in the fender, in the front fenders, so that I can run wires over and attach everything here, and then I'll need a set of wires that run inside to provide power for the remaining 6 lights. All right, we're in the driver's wheel well, and right here above this coil, there was a factory hole there. Not sure what it's for. The other side had one, and right about the same spot too. So I'm gonna put the light about like that. It'll shine out a little bit, which is good. Just gonna use the drill. I'll just make a couple indents and then drill out the hole. You know, be careful that you know what's on the other side. I think I'm good here. Put a little bit of paint in there, that's always a good idea. All right, so now I grabbed one of those rubber pads and gonna run the wires through that. And this is just gonna help with vibration and all that sorts of stuff. Got a washer and a nut for the other side. The supplied hardware comes with an Allen wrench for one side and a nut. Just for the sake of time and so this video doesn't drag on, I'm not going to take you along when I install the rest, but I'll show you what I did afterwards. So now, keep it on in the engine bay. The next step is going to be to get this wire over to the other side. And to do that, I'm going to use the supplied extension, supplied butt connector, and then I'll wrap it up with the supplied tape. All right, I ran that wire right along the factory loom. I'll go in later and clean it all up. It's in there kind of loose right now. So I have both rock lights, wiring terminating right there. Here's the main power off to the main fuse. Now I'm going to take that piece of the wiring harness I cut off. So I'll run this piece through the firewall. That should give me this pigtail right here underneath the dash to run to the passenger side. And then I should be able to run this one back a little ways and tie into the stuff on this side. I got the passenger side, the driver's side rock light, the main power. I'm going to strip all 3 of those wires and run them into one side of the butt connector. And then this is the power wire that goes through the firewall now. That'll hook to the other side. That should get power through the firewall without having to have a bunch of extra wires and stuff going on. And then I'll take this wire that I'm running through the firewall and I'll plug it into the other side, crimp it down, tape it up, and repeat the process with the ground wire. I put one right behind the out kicker on the rock sliders, another one behind the rear out kicker, and another one in the wheel well, the rear wheel well. And so now all I have to do is use the extensions provided, and I'm just going to connect all these in line. I'll use that extension wire that they provided. I'll attach here, I'll run it down, I'll attach this in line, run it forward. So I have the main wiring harness coming in through the firewall on the driver's side. I have it zip tied to an existing wire loom. I was able to run it underneath the dash. I took off my bezel here and I tucked it in down and around here. Followed another wire that comes across. I have it tucked behind the trim here, or at least it will be. And I thought I'd show you just what I'm doing. So here's the next chunk of extension. So this is the extension I ran from the last connection back here. So there's 2 reds that run into one side of the butt connector, 2 blacks that run into one side of this butt connector. So that's the one rock light, the extension. It ties in together, and then I'm simply going to plug this part of the main wiring harness into the other side of the butt connector, and then you just stick your crimp on and you squeeze down, And it's as simple as that. All right, it's the last step of the install. I just got to get the switches in. So I'm sitting in the Jeep. I've already got in here and kind of got a feel for how I wanted this stuff. And I think I'm going to put the Bluetooth controller right here. It's got some double-sided tape on the back. So I'm going to clean that off and stick it on the best I can. And then I will fish the plug, the wire in over here, and I'll pop it out right here and then be able to put my cover back on, and you won't even see it except for a little bit of wire running between the controller underneath the panel here. I might have to notch it a little bit. And then I was going to put the red switch right there, but there's something solid behind there. I think a sheet of metal or something. Up here though is a good spot. It's nice and hollow behind there. I've already gotten one switch in there. So I'm just going to drill that out. I already fished the wire up. And so I'll drill a hole, unplug this, fish the wires through, plug it back in, slide it in. That's done. Then I just got to put the other switch on. Nice burnt smell of plastic. Okay, now this should just pop right in. It actually fits almost just perfect right there. So I'm going to pull the cover off that tape. Try to line it up the best I can so that it looks square with all the edges. Alright, I don't know if you can see that, but it's notched right there. I just rubbed the drill bit against it. Alright, there it is. Red switch, the Bluetooth switch, the plug for it. Looks alright. If you open their instruction manual, flip to the back, well, second to last page, I guess, there are these QR codes. And if you hover your phone over that, there it goes, see it captured it? And then it wants to ask if I want to access that, and I already did, and I downloaded it to my phone. So you open the app, looks really good. It's going to show you the available devices. You click on yours, and that's what you get. It's kind of hard to tell on this, but have a color wheel with all the different colors you want. You can turn it on and off through the app. It has a strobe function, and I'll show you all this. I'm waiting for it to get dark. I want you guys to see the real deal here. So the power button is the top of the 3 buttons. So it's showing blue. We got blue out here. So I'm going to set you down, and I'm just going to run through these buttons, and then there's this 3rd button, and it shows, it makes the lights kind of pulsate. So I'm going to go set the GoPro down and run through these buttons. So it's not even perfectly dark out, but we're getting a lot of light out of these. So that's the breathe function. Looks pretty cool. Everything seemed to work good in there. It even has a little indicator light to show you what you're on. So now I'm going to pull out my app. Off, on, yellow. And then you have these preset ones down here at the bottom. These first 3 they had there. That one kind of just goes through the colors. The second one goes through the colors but at a different rate. Then we have this preset one. Lights kind of dance. Then I chose white. I chose an orange that strobes. And you can change that strobe function down here on the slider. We got red. You can dim them. Blue. And then if you want to choose one, you just press that add. We'll go with pink. My daughter will like that. Then you press OK. Press the check mark. Now it's set as a preset. White, pink, blue. I think I'll be using white, blue, and red the most And then this one's my emergency mode, of course, to match all my strobe lights I already have on there. So it looks pretty good. The function is working great. The problem that I was having was one light not changing when the others did. And that seems to be fixed. So I'm super happy. Customer service was great to work with. So in here on the switch, it's dark. My interior light's not too good. But you can see, here's my switch with the 3 buttons, and then it has an indicator light on the bottom. So right now my white lights are on. Now my green lights are on. Blue. Looks good. And then you just have the red switch as your master switch. You can either shut it off down here. So that shut it off. That's on. And then if I just want to shut them off real quick, boom, master switch.